Give that a moment. Okay, well, we are live, and this is Sunday evening, and today is the 19th of November, and this is the Center for Divine Awakening. This is our weekly gathering, and so I am coming today to you from, I'm just adjusting the Facebook a little bit. Hold on just a second. Whoa, sorry. If you were on Facebook, sorry. You just took a little spin out. Okay, all right, so we are live, and we are both on Facebook, and we are also on Zoom. So I'm learning technology, so if you are on Facebook Live, feel free to jump over and join us on the Zoom conversation. My name is Eliza Bloom Robinson, and I'm coming to you today from Sedona, Arizona. And what I wanted to really spend some time talking about tonight is the importance of self-care. But by importance, I mean like the imperativeness. Like it is imperative to practice self-care. And the reason I wanted to talk about it tonight is because actually I'm doing it right now. And there's times where I don't do it very well, you know, like most of us. But I am here for 3 nights and kind of sort of 4 days with a couple of girlfriends. And these girlfriends happen to be my mastermind and my prayer partners. Twyla she was a classmate of mine in the seminary, and so we've known each other since 1998 and have been prayer partners since 1998. Now I see Michaela is on the line, so I don't know what year you were born, but probably before 1998, but not by much, right?
It could be 5-year-old.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's a long time. And then Linda is also with us, and she's a relatively newer prayer partner for me, but not for Twyla. They've known each other since the 90s. So we're just having a incredible time of rest, of girlfriends, of renewal. Today we have been to 3 of the 4 Vortexes. And Sedona is known for its beauty. It's known for the energy vortexes. It's known a little bit to kind of be a melting pot of new age. And there is definitely the melting pot of new age here. So that's really beautiful. But dropping beneath that and just landing in the energy of this place, the whole area is an energy vortex. There's no doubt about that. And within the whole area of being an energy vortex, they have 4 main ones that they talk about. We're going to do the 4th one tomorrow, but today we were at the airport, Mesa, which is very, very beautiful. We took a little hike. We took a good hike actually around that, and then landed down in what they call the airport Mesa. We started at the airport parking lot and went down to the airport Mesa, and the vistas and the views. I'll be posting some of this on my Facebook page, on my personal page. If you're my personal friend, you can see a lot of photos already, but I'm also going to be posting on the Divine Awakening page because they're so beautiful. And then we went up to Bell Rock, which is my most favorite place in all the world. I love Bell Rock. We were talking to one of the guides yesterday, and he's like, well, they used to go up to the top. I said, I've been to the top. He's looked at me like, you're not supposed to go to the top. I said, I probably won't this year. I went like 30 years ago when I was young and limber and agile. But I have such memories of being in this area. And we spent some beautiful time at Bell Rock. And then we went to what's called Cathedral Rock. And the energy there is, again, so very different. And so we were leaning into the experience. We were leaning into just absolutely basking in the different energies. Of course, this morning we took a nice leisurely morning. We had brunch right on our own patio, and we've got these views of the red rocks, and it's just so great. And so I could talk about that for a long time, but what I really want to share is how my soul, how my spirit, how my body, how my being, even though I'm tired from hiking tonight, I'm tired because we've done 2 days out from mid-morning all the way until now. My friends are still out. I popped in to do this, and then I'll go back out and pick them up, and we'll head back in. But even in being tired, that level of tired, my soul is so fed. My soul is so nurtured. And one of the guys we were talking to, we was at the Chamber of Commerce or a visitor center or someplace. We're like, well, what do you think about the vortexes? Because I always like to know what people think. And he goes, well, I don't really know about all that stuff. He's at the visitor center. Come on, right? And he says, all I know is when I'm in those places, I can't think. And I went, well, that's perfect. That, to me, says you're probably in an energy vortex if your brain doesn't work, right? And so we sort of had that in the back of our mind. And then when we were up there, we kept saying things like, or we were coming down from a vortex, or coming, you can feel when you go in, and you can feel when you kind of come out, even though the whole area is very high energy. But at the airport, it's known more for the masculine energy. So, and it was lovely. It was beautiful. And my friend Linda said, especially when we were walking out, there was a certain point where you could feel it. Like we're walking in and just, doing what we do, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, my hands started tingling. And it tingles up and down my spine and in the back of my head. And it's brilliant. And we walked out, and Linda says, I feel like I'm being pushed and being pushed out. And so that was fine. And then we went to Bell Rock, and it was just like sinking in. Bell Rock is more of a balance, masculine, feminine, and balance. That's where my heart resonates. That's where my soul goes, I'm home. Feed me, nourish me. It's like a nice, easy rain on a parched desert land for my soul. And what I notice is when I take time to really be still, to really be in my heart and soul, to really be renewed, is what happens for me is my need to push dissipates. And so what I became aware of this today is that I have been pushing, and it's sort of in my nature. Sort of like, I have this great idea. It's like, make it happen. And yet it's what I'm being called to is to back off and to allow. I mean, this particular gathering is part of that, right? I want it to be. It's not even that I want it to be. It's that it feels inside my being that it's becoming something. And so I have this divine idea, and then I get in the way, and I go push. But what I'm realizing, and it's not a new idea to me, but I don't know when I'm pushing until I back off. And I center again. I come back to my hips. I come back to my home. I come back to my heart. And I simply be. I'm thinking you can probably feel the difference. And so just take a breath, and I invite you into the energy vortex of Sedona, into the energy vortex of the Bell Rock. And then we went to Cathedral Rock as well, and that was equally lovely and equally different in the subtle energies, but also a very balanced, masculine, feminine, and a balance. One of the things we became aware of today, and somebody pointed this out and then we started to see it, is in the vortexes, the trees are twisted. And so when the trees are twisted, you know that you're in a vortex. Not all of them. And I wish I knew what kind. I think it might be I don't know what kind. Anyway, I don't know what they are. And so we kept seeing these twisted trees. And one of the things that came into my mind is, wow, that's so interesting, because I get so twisted up in who I am and what I want to do. And yet when I land in the vortex, it is like an unwinding. It is an unwinding of my soul into a spaciousness, And that was the biggest thing when we were talking later about the 3 different vortexes. I see Susan and I see Wiley. I ran into, just a segue, just a side, not segue, totally random tangent. Wiley has been my friend for, I don't know, Wiley, you can tell, but probably since 2006, maybe, 7, 8, maybe 10 years kind of. And we ran into him yesterday at the Church of the Holy Cross, and it was like so rich. It was like, oh, I'm so glad. And I see he's watching on Facebook right now, so I'm so glad you're here. And Susan, of course, some of you know Susan as well, so I'm so glad that you guys are here. I can't see everybody who's on Facebook, so if you're there, pop your name in, say hello. But anyway, backing up. Cathedral Rock, Bell Rock, to me are both very spacious, and so my soul unwinds. My need, my desire, my dream, my push softens. And I can take a breath, so take a breath with me. And then at the airport vortex, I felt very activated, like, oh, I could do this and do this and do this. So it was very more active energy for me. Linda said it was a push. It was like pushing her. I didn't sense so much that for me, but that blending of all of them. And then tomorrow, before we head back down the hill to Phoenix, we're going to go to Boynton Canyon and the Kachina Lady, the Kachina Rock, which is also very feminine, which is a perfect way to wrap up our trip. But the point of tonight's time together is really about the imperative need for self-care. When I am fed, when you are fed, when I am rested, when you are rested, we have space and energy and vibration and frequency to do what is ours to do. Many of us don't take that time. Many of us are caretakers. Many of us are mothers. Some of us who I know on this call are mothers of young children. Many of us have life pulling at us. We have a lot of demands in our jobs or in our situations and our circumstances. And so we are stretched thin, or we are pushed, or we are pulled. And yet when we practice, like take a breath, when we can stop long enough to feel our feet on the ground, to feel our crown and our palms connected to the sun. Those of you who follow me know that this is a practice. When we stop for long enough to shift our awareness from the monkey mind of the brain and the to-do and the thinking and the da-da-da-da-da, and land into our being and land into our hearts, something shifts. It's like the giving, the doing gets turned down a little bit so that we can begin to be being, where we can begin to receive. And when I talk about receiving, I'm not even really talking about from other people, but from that which we call the universe or spirit or source. We can receive food for our souls, nourishment for our spirits. We can receive love. We can receive grace. We can receive divine inspiration. We can receive ease. Take a breath and exhale. Take a breath, another breath, and exhale. And one more. And when we stop here and we land here and we feel ourselves opening, feel your chest opening, feel the space between your shoulders and your ears opening. Open your chest, open your palms, open your third eye, open your heart, and simply bask for a moment. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel yourself connected to that which is greater than us. Call it spirit, source. Call it God. Call it the infinite. Call it creation. Call it love. Call it spaciousness. And I want to give you a very simple practice that we can all do, that every one of us can do. And so I'm going to tell you what it is, and then we're going to do it together. So the practice is simply this. Inhale. At the top of the breath, hold. And exhale. We're going to do that 3 times. And then the 4th time, we're going to hold at the top of the breath. We're going to let the breath return to normal, but we're going to hold the space. It might not make sense. It's okay. But try it with me. Breathe with me. So we're going to do 1 inhale. Hold. Exhale. Let the sound of your breath be heard. So 1 inhale. Hold. Audibly exhale. 3rd time, inhale. Hold. Exhale audibly. Inhale again. Hold. Now hold your awareness at the top of the breath, but let your breath return to normal. And just notice what you notice. If your attention gets drawn away somewhere else, just hold at the top of the inhale, let your breath return to normal. Now take that space at the top of the breath that you're holding and drop it right down into your heart space. Let this permeate and penetrate and fill the inner spaces of your being. Bask. What I notice for me is a spaciousness, a quiet, a filling that renews my soul. Just breathing here, holding that space. Place 1 hand on your heart and 1 hand on your lower belly. Connect your feet to the ground. And regardless of what your life looks like, become willing to do what it takes to renew your soul. Become willing to take a moment or 5 minutes or a half an hour to hold this place in order to renew your being. And when you do this, and when you practice this, everything else in your life will come into order. If you do it for 5 minutes at the beginning of the day, everything else will be easier. If you take 38 seconds or 68 seconds and do it in the middle of anything that's going on that makes you go, ah, take this practice 68 seconds. Come back to center. From center, from a place of being filled and full, you can then go forth into your life and do all that needs to be done. So take another breath. It is imperative to practice self-care, especially as women. We're master givers, but when do we ever receive? Again, not necessarily from other people, but when do we ever stop long enough to receive from the universe? And so we're going to open up for a dialogue and a conversation on the Zoom. If you're on Facebook Live, there I posted the Zoom link, so go ahead and click through that if you want to join the conversation. And if you are sharing the Facebook Live, please share. I would love to see you. We have this weekly, every Sunday night at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. We are meeting for inspiration and then staying for conversation, for community, and for connection. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the recording down on Zoom and shut Facebook Live down. If you're catching this, come on over to Zoom and join our conversation. And we'll see you real soon. Stopping Facebook Live.